Coming up on KTTC News at 10, starting 2024 at Minnesota State Parks, a tradition that brought out a lot of families today. Plus, an Indiana boy is home tonight after being kidnapped, how the crime came to an end in Wisconsin. But first, a deadly earthquake strikes Japan on this New Year's Day. Your 10 o'clock news starts right now.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
And thank you for watching us. I'm Tom Overlay. Caitlin Alexander is off tonight. A massive 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck western Japan this afternoon, triggering tsunami alerts as far away as eastern Russia. Most of those alerts have thankfully been downgraded as Japan seems to have avoided the same catastrophic damage suffered during the Fukushima earthquake and tsunami disaster of 2011. Mike Valerio shows us the moment this 2024 New Year's quake happened and tells us where rescue efforts in Japan stand tonight.
This is what it was like when the 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit western Japan on Monday. And this video goes on for about a minute. Roofs and buildings collapsed. Japan's self-defense forces dispatched 1,000 of its personnel to the quake zone. As she's walking through her neighborhood, the person recording the video says, "We're in serious trouble. Please come and help us."
It was 7.5, but it was shallow. So that means where the fault was moving was very close to where people were living, and that can concentrate shaking close to where the earthquake happened.
Fires burned past nightfall, but Ishikawa in western Japan seems to have avoided the same scale of disaster suffered during the 2011 Fukushima earthquake and tsunami.
It's not a particularly populated area. There are probably a lot of older people there, which is definitely a worry. We heard a report earlier this evening about one of the evacuation centers was itself a nursing home, and that's very concerning. I've covered other events, earthquakes and other disasters, where that's one of the biggest troubles is trying to evacuate people who might not have a lot of mobility.
As for concerns at the dawn of this new year,
An earthquake this big is going to continue to have aftershocks. It could easily have aftershocks at bigger than magnitude 6. So that's going to be a hazard in its own right.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
And that earthquake disaster in Japan turned deadly. At least 8 deaths are now confirmed, a number that could easily climb as damage assessments are underway. Japan's chief cabinet secretary told the country that at the moment there are no reported irregularities with nuclear power plants, including the one closest to the epicenter. The U.S. Geological Center says that there have been at least 31 aftershocks and damages are still being assessed tonight. Well, a southern Minnesota man is in the hospital tonight after he was shot in the arm by his son. Blue Earth County Sheriff's Office says they got the call this afternoon in Eagle Lake for a man who had been shot. They say the 911 caller was the victim's son, who admitted to shooting his father. The victim is a 59-year-old man. Authorities say his injuries are life-threatening. The victim's son had been detained pending further investigation. There is no threat to the public. And an 11-year-old from Indiana is back home after being kidnapped. On Saturday, the vehicle involved in the abduction was spotted at a gas station, at this one in Iowa County, Wisconsin. That's west of Madison. Police eventually pulled over the car, rescued the child. The 3 adults inside the vehicle are from South Dakota. They were taken into custody. And meteorologist Sarah Gannon is out on the weather patio. So Sarah, the new year getting off to kind of a cool start. What are we looking at for the remainder of the night, Sarah?
Hey there, Tom. Yeah, our high temperature today was 24 degrees, and that's right on par for this time of the year. So very seasonal start here to the new year. Not so much for sunshine, though. However, as we look ahead here for the upcoming week, high pressure will keep us pretty quiet as we roll into the next few days. A dry and mild stretch of weather does continue here, at least for this first week. And unfortunately for snow lovers, not much of that in the forecast for at least the immediate future. But maybe there could be a chance by next week. So we're going to continue to watch that potential here as we continue to lack that snowfall here in southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. Outside right now, cloud cover finally moving across the riverside. We've got clearing skies overhead as we check in with your future track radar. It's a quiet evening as we look outside from your Lewis Notto live camera. This one from Signal Hill here, looking towards Highway 52. We currently are at 20 degrees in Rochester. Those winds a little bit breezy right now, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. So area-wide, temperatures right now into the upper teens and low to mid 20s. Wind chill values for many of us are back in the single digits to lower teens. So a bit of a cooler evening for the area. but quiet. We are looking to see cloud cover, though, roll back in for tomorrow, so not much for sunshine in the next day or two, but temperatures will stay above average into the upper 20s and low 30s. So a pleasant start there to many of us returning back to work tomorrow and when the kids return back to school as well. So we are looking to see a quiet stretch of weather, but many of us wanting that snowfall. We'll talk about our next potential on the way coming up in your First Alert Weather. Tom?
Thanks, Sarah. With the Iowa caucuses entering the final stretch now, Iowa's great television stations will host virtual town halls with the top candidates to answer questions that you want to ask. Here is Dave Price with details.
I'm Iowa Political Director Dave Price. Join us for a live digital town hall with Republican presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. A chance for you to ask your question about what matters to you. Is it inflation, the debt, education, the border, or something else? Join Iowans from all over our state for this live digital town hall with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as we get ready for the January 15th Iowa caucuses.
And former President Donald Trump's legal team is expected to appeal decisions that removed him from the 2024 primary ballots in Colorado and Maine. That's according to a source familiar with the plans, which could happen as soon as tomorrow. The decisions to take Trump off the ballot are based on the 14th Amendment, which says officials who have, quote, engaged in insurrection are disqualified from holding office. New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu is among those who says that Trump's removal from the ballots could allow the former president to play the, quote, victim card. He has endorsed South Dakota Governor Nikki Haley in the GOP primary, saying that she can, quote, beat him in all 50 states. Well, winter may be here, but some Minnesotans are wasting no time this new year, experiencing the great outdoors. Several state parks in the area took part in the traditional first-day hikes. It's a tradition started by State Park Systems as a way to get people out of the house and experience nature on this New Year's Day. Whitewater State Park is among several in Minnesota taking part in this yearly tradition with a mile-guided hike. Whitewater has been taking part in first-day hikes for about 10 years, and this year more than 30 folks registered and took part in the hike.
It's not only the fact that people are coming out, but it's that families are coming out. So they're using this as a chance to bond together. We love seeing people enjoying the wonderful state parks and the natural areas that we have around.
And in addition to the hike, the park also hosted its annual Christmas bird count this morning, where local volunteers spent several days spotting and counting birds to see which remain in the area during the winter months. More than 100 people in Rochester started off the new year in the right direction at the New Year's Day Resolution 5K in town. Terra Loco hosts dozens of events and group runs throughout the year. The New Year's 5K started at Terra Loco off of 16th Street, continued past the Waters, and followed the bike trail toward Soldiers Field and then back. When the crowd showed up at the store to sign up, they put down their New Year's resolution for prize drawings after the run. Some of the runners shared what they are looking forward to this year.
It's super important to have some goals, some resolutions, like where are you headed, what are you excited about, and my youngest graduates this year, so that idea of transitioning into empty nesters and what does that look like, and oh my gosh, that's just a little bit overwhelming, but also exciting. So to travel more is a big one for us.
And according to experts, setting a New Year's resolution is more common in this country than other countries. They say about 37% of Americans set goals for last year's New Year celebration, and they make those New Year's resolutions. And starting tomorrow, you're going to have to pay to park in downtown in one of the ramps if you are parked for longer than 1 hour. For the past 2 months, drivers have been able to park in the ramps for free for 2 hours. It's part of a program to encourage more frequent and longer visits to downtown Rochester during the holiday shopping season. And another reminder from the city, parking downtown at city ramps and meters is always free on weekends and after 5 p.m. on weekdays. An important financial reminder as we enter in the new year, it's all about protecting your assets. We'll learn more in tonight's Watching Your Wallet.
And we continue with those mild temperatures here as we roll back into the first week of January, but could snowfall possibly be on our horizon? We'll talk about those forecast details coming up in your First Alert Weather after this.
It's one of those things people forget about until they have a life-changing event, but naming the family members who will get your assets in the event of a death is so very important. In our Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa reminds you why you should make sure that your beneficiaries are up to date to start the new year.
When you die, where does your money go? It's an uncomfortable thought for most of us, but beneficiary designations are so important, not only to make, but to update. You should do this once a year. December is a good month just before the new year. Beneficiary designations are when a spouse, child, or even a charity receive your assets when you pass away. You often have to name them for the investment accounts like IRAs, qualified plans through your work, or life insurance policies. The designation allows you to avoid probate and send the asset directly to the individual. It's easy to overlook this. It even happened to Michael Joyce with the financial firm Agili.
A couple of years ago, when my youngest son was about 12 or 13, and I was reviewing the beneficiary designations on one of my Roth IRAs, and I realized that he was not listed as a contingent beneficiary.
Joyce says you can name a percentage of your assets for multiple people as long as it adds up to 100%. To name a person, you need their full name and date of birth, and some places require a social security number. Other events that should trigger a look at your beneficiaries: marriage, divorce, having a child, or the death of a loved one. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Millions of workers are going to get a pay bump within this new year. Nearly half of all U.S. states and the District of Columbia will increase their minimum wage this year. Washington state will continue to have the highest minimum wage in the country at $16.28 an hour. That's up from $15.74 an hour. Meantime, Hawaii will have the largest increase, raising its minimum wage $2 to $14 an hour. Washington, D.C. will have the highest hourly minimum wage in the country, $17.05. The city will raise its minimum wage again this summer.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
Well, I hope everyone had a happy new year and a great start to the year. We are kicking off January 1st on a very seasonal note, and conditions feeling a little cooler out there because of those breezy winds. Today's high temperature for many of us climbing to those mid-20s, 24 degrees to be exact here in Rochester, and that's right on average here for this time of the year. Albert Lee, Austin, Charles City all ringing in, even Decorah at 25 degrees. Mason City, our warm spot, along with Winona and La Crosse at 28 degrees. So not too bad. A great way to kick things off this evening. Cooler conditions out there and cloud cover now clearing. So we'll look to see temperatures take a little bit of a dip here for this evening. But live look outside there from your Lewis Notto live camera at downtown Rochester. So temperature-wise, not too bad. Many of us into those low to mid-20s, 25 degrees currently in Winona, 18 in Mason City. Wind chill values in the single digits to teens, depending on your location, and that's because of those breezy winds. We have winds right now out of the south, anywhere from around 5 to 15 miles per hour. So as we roll into the overnight hours, things will be quiet. We have those clear skies overhead, and looking ahead, though, clouds do roll back in for tomorrow, but our temperatures will be staying above average as we head into the upcoming week. Precipitation chances, snow chances look to stay at 0 here in the next few days. By next week, though, we may have a snow chance on our hands, so that'll be something that we'll continue to monitor. Outside right now, live look there at your future track radar. We are looking at those clearing skies. Cloud cover now moving across the Mississippi Riverside. They took their time moving out of the area today, so unfortunately we missed out on that sunshine. But as we look out there, we notice high pressure dominating the upper Midwest just to our south, but also building off to the west. Good indication that we'll be having some dry and quiet conditions and a quiet weather pattern as we roll into the next few days. Now, first off, I want to talk about temperatures. We stay mild and above average. Our coolest days of the week will be on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll take a quick dip there into those mid-20s. It'll still be slightly above average. We typically should be into those low to mid-20s, about 23 degrees to be exact here for this time of the year. We'll look to jump back into those 30s there by the weekend, and as we look a little bit further out, we could have a change coming down the pipeline. Looking at temperatures from the Climate Prediction Center, anticipating that as we head into the next few days, so still January 7th through about the 11th, about a 40 to 50% chance of above average temperatures. The change comes as we head towards the mid part of the month between January 9th and 15th, indicating about 40 to 50% chance of below average temperatures. So we could be seeing some changes to our temperature trend as we run into the middle part of January. Now, sky conditions as we head towards the overnight hours, we see these clear skies and they fill back up with clouds as we head towards tomorrow morning. We'll see temps there into the 20s. Now, as we roll throughout the daytime hours, high temps will be into those upper 20s, low 30s, and clouds staying consistent. By Wednesday, similar story, cloudy skies area-wide and temperatures above average into those upper 20s and low 30s there. Now, when it comes to precipitation chances, again, as I mentioned, through the weekend, things looking pretty dry and quiet. Now, by Monday, we have the potential maybe to start seeing some snow chances popping in for next week. Now, of course, this is still several days out. We have time to start to pinpoint specific details about these next couple systems and if they'll actually come to fruition. But, you know, we've been a little quiet. We've been lacking that snow, so it'll be nice to see some snow chances there back in the forecast. Tonight, though, temps stay into the low 20s. We'll look to see some breezy conditions as well tomorrow. Low 30s on the way for those highs with overcast skies and breezy northwest winds. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. Pretty quiet and cloudy. Best chance for sun by Thursday. We're keeping an eye on that snow chance there for Monday. Tom?
All right, looking pretty good. Thank you, Sarah. As RSV cases surge in several places across the Midwest, a story of how some friends raised the spirits of a family struggling with the illness. The CDC is reporting a rising number of RSV cases. A family from Wisconsin has 2 children hospitalized with the illness. Their friends had an idea to lift their spirits. Morgan Wolf shows us how they lit up the streets of St. Paul.
In St. Paul, sniffles, coughs, and sneezes. They're the sounds that you'll hear in these halls. What you'll see are a lot of concerned parents.
It's Christmas Day.
This includes Kayla Jellison.
I think we probably slept maybe 5 hours since then.
Her youngest of 8, 6-month-old Carson, was taken by ambulance from their home in Richmond, Wisconsin to Children's, Minnesota.
Got diagnosed with RSV. And then Kelsey was running a fever, took her temperature, it was 105.
2-year-old Kelsey joining her baby brother.
The birthday girl today, yep.
Spending her special day in the hospital.
It's tough.
For a family who runs a tow truck company, their friends knew how to lift them up. From near and far, 41 tow trucks lit up the streets of St. Paul and made sure their support was heard.
It's amazing.
In the halls of the hospital.
Emotional, hard, but I love it.
I made a post, said that I've got family in the hospital and he owns a tow company and everybody wanted to get involved. I was not expecting this.
Providing birthday girl Kelsey and her family with a dose of love. Sometimes just showing up is enough.
They're the tow brothers and sisters is what we call everybody. They're
A friend said that they pulled together all those trucks within a few days' notice. Other patients inside were seen waving from the windows as well, lifting a lot of spirits there. Insulin is becoming more affordable for millions of diabetics. Starting today, Sanofi's Lantus will be capped at $35 a month for many patients. This is the most widely prescribed insulin in the country. Last year, the nation's 2 other major insulin manufacturers, Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, also reduced their insulin prices. About 8.5 million Americans rely on insulin to survive. As many as 25% of patients have not been able to afford their medicine. The U.S. population starts the new year slightly larger than last year. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there were 335,893,000 people in the country as of midnight. That's just over half a percent point increase from New Year's Day 2023. Officials say the combination of births, deaths, and migration will result in a new addition to the U.S. population roughly every 24 seconds. The projected world population starts the new year off with just over 8 billion people. People can keep up to date with the Census Bureau's population clock, which has simulated real-time growth for populations across the globe. And a reminder, we're just a few weeks away now from the 70th annual Eagles Cancer Telethon on KTTC. That money raised funds vital for vital cancer research here in Minnesota. We hope you will join us January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for cancer research. Nick?
Thanks, Tom. Next in sports, an injury update from the Minnesota Wild. Plus, Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves took on the Knicks at MSG. Your highlights coming at you after the break.
KTTC Sports from the Lacina Siding and Windows Sports Wall.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Spiliopoulos. Tonight from the Sports Wall, we have a little mix of everything, hockey, football, but we're going to start tonight on the hardwood, shall we? In New York, Ant and the Wolves at Madison Square Garden for a New Year's Day date with the Knicks. Second quarter, 1-point Wolves lead. Brunson puts the moves on Gobert. The floater drops. Same quarter, in his Knicks debut, OG Anunoby sneaks behind Gobert and Towns. A big slam in the paint pushes the Knicks lead to 7. He had 17 in his new home. Wheels appear to be off the wagon for the Wolves. They're down 12 at the break. Gobert elevates for a vicious two-handed slam to keep the deficit at 12. Now, Minnesota would eventually get back within 4 in the final quarter, but Julius Randle's 39-point performance, too much for Minnesota to overcome. Wolves lose their 8th of the year, 106-112 to the Knicks. Next game is New Orleans Wednesday at Target Center. For the Minnesota Vikings, it was a New Year's Eve nightmare for the team and fans alike. The 33-10 embarrassing loss to the Packers in Sunday Night Football certainly made the path to the playoffs much harder. According to ESPN Analytics, Minnesota has less than a 10% chance at the final NFC wildcard spot. So here it is. Here's what needs to happen in Week 18. First, Vikings have to win their final game of the regular season at Detroit, a team they lost to 24-30 8 days ago. If that happens, they'll need a lot of outside help too. Green Bay needs to lose. They host Chicago. Seattle has to lose in Arizona, and either Tampa Bay or New Orleans loses. Just a quick note, if the Packers win, they clinch the 7th seed. If the Rams lose to the 49ers, Packers climb into 6th. For the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell says the team is only focused on one thing.
It's getting that bad taste out of our mouth of a performance that we're certainly not proud of and is not to our expectation or our standards. So I imagine our guys will be ready to come back in and get to work this week and see if we can put together a good game plan, have some good preparation, and have it translate to what we do on the field on Sunday in Detroit.
Vikings struggles at quarterback continue. Rookie Jaron Hall was underwhelming in his second career start. He turned the ball over twice in the first half, which led to him being benched for the remainder of the game in favor of Nick Mullins against Green Bay. But KOC has no regrets about starting Hall.
I think once again that's not an end-all, be-all indictment on Jaron or anybody else. It's just a matter of it didn't go the way we wanted. I made the decision to play Jaron out of my confidence that I had in him, and I still have confidence in Jaron, moving forward and in his development.
Less encouraging news for the Minnesota Wild. Star forward Kirill Kaprizov was cross-checked in Saturday's game against the Jets. He missed Sunday. No word on when he'll return. Goaltender Philip Gustafson also left Saturday's game, relieved by Marc-Andre Fleury. Gus placed on injured reserve today. He'll most likely have an MRI tomorrow. For the time being, it'll be Fleury's net for the start tomorrow, with Zane McIntyre serving as the backup. And we go to Orlando for the 2023 Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, number 17 Iowa opposite number 21 Tennessee. First quarter, design quarterback run Nico Iamaleava breaks one shoestring tackle. Vol strike first. It's 7-0. Next Tennessee drive, it's Iamaleava again using his legs, his second rushing touchdown of the day in his first career start. Second half, Hawkeyes pinned deep in their own territory. Deacon Hill gets strip sacked by James Pierce Jr., recovered by Dominic Bailey. Vols give it back to Iamaleava. Back to pass, can't find a man, so it becomes a rushing touchdown, his third using his legs. More Tennessee defense. Hill gets intercepted by Pierce Jr. He's going to take this all the way the other direction. Pick 6. Tough ending for the Hawkeyes season. Tennessee blanks them 35-0. That's it from the Sports Wall tonight. We'll be right back.
Disney's copyright protection for an early version of Mickey Mouse expired today. It's now in the public domain. Anyone can use the version of Mickey shown in Walt Disney's 1928 short film Steamboat Willie. U.S. copyright law, which Congress last updated in 1998, allows a copyright to be held for 95 years. The copyright expiration could mean we will start seeing more of this little Mickey, but only that 1928 version of the famous mouse. More modern versions will remain unaffected. They are still protected by Disney's copyright. There are several differences between the Steamboat Willie Mickey and today's version. The 28 version lacks the current Mickey's gloves and oversized shoes. His eyes are small black ovals without pupils.
And color.
Yeah, right. A little more color. But anyway, so yeah, there you go. So if you want to take on that, iconic Mickey whatever, you can do that.
I'm okay.
It's public domain.
Put it in a weather graphic.
Yeah, there you go. Add it to
Nick
the weather
might like
graphics.
that.
Yeah. So meantime, it's feeling a little bit more like winter out there now.
Yeah, today was actually really seasonal. We had that high of 24 degrees today, and I think we could see a snow chance by next week. So a little while. Winter will finally come,
yes,
hopefully.
Hope so. Thanks for joining us tonight on this first day of 2024. Have a good night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Absent or incomplete.
Dr. Leo Nasola is talking about emergency medical kits on flights. All airlines are required by the Federal Aviation Administration to carry these bags filled with 25 mandatory items to save your life. The kits include a stethoscope, aspirin, a blood pressure cuff, and